Okay, let's start at text 50 of chapter 6. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrī Rukmiṇī uvāca. Bhaumatir nava-nītāti. mṛdu-svāntasya tasya avijñāyāntaraṁ kiñcit. katham evaṁ tvayocyate. yūyaṁ śrṇuta vṛttāni. tarhi śrutāni me. Śrī Rukmiṇī said, "My dear mother, you understand the inner feelings of Krishna at all. His heart is softer than newly." You don't understand the inner feelings of Krishna at all. His heart is softer than newly churned butter. What you were saying? Why are you saying these things? Just hear from me what I have heard. Purport. Even if Rohini did understand Krishna's true feelings, she was not revealing what she knew. Tīmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha Śrī Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Patantikam Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So greetings from New Jersey. I kind of feel I'm going to give a disclaimer for this class. Yesterday was wonderful. We drove all the way in, and we're developing a really nice New York City Sanga. So I'm really happy about that too. We had such a wonderful program and a great attendance and great discussions, and then driving all the way back. But it's still hard for me to focus the next day, but I'm really trying to get focused because we have some second initiations today, which I'm looking forward to, in another program. So, let me just see if I can, by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dive into this ocean of Rasa Gita Shloka Ashvadana. This is our business. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu really taught us by his own example in the Gambhira. I was speaking about that yesterday, that Srimati Radharani is Mahabhav Sarup. I've explained this, I hope I can explain it in a different way. But Srimati Radharani is Mahabhav Sarup. Sometimes when you repeat things come be clearer. So what is Mahabhav Sarup? She's the form of devotion. That's why she's so pleasing to Krishna. When we form our devotion, we can communicate love. And that's what we do in devotion. Everything is an offering for Krishna. And we have to look at our lives like that. And we have to have service like that. I remember when I was in Govardhan, I was one of the founders of it's really Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, but I was at least one of the 4 people initially that started the Vrindavan Institute for Higher Education. I think there's one point that Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta once made at one of the Prabhupada's disappearance. You come to Vrindavan now, there's so much facility. When we came, there wasn't electricity practically. There was one station for all of Raman Reti. There was no sweet water. You couldn't buy bottled water. There was no such thing as bottled water. It was very difficult. What to speak of Bombay and Mayapur and the difficulties that people underwent. Yeah, I could see when you don't have your same level of sadhana and you get to bed later, it's different. Because what happens generally is when you're giving class, your mind has to work on very different levels and then come back. But anyway, I was thinking Burijan and the VIHE. Yeah, we started the VIHE, Ministry for Higher Education. Anyway, I don't remember the point, but what I'm explaining here is what Lord Chaitanya came to give. Yeah, so I was I was explaining something about, Radharani is Mahabhav Sarup. She is the form of, okay, now I kind of remember what I was going to explain. And then this VIHE, it took so many years to develop by the sincerity of the Lord. Now they have a 25-acre retreat center. It's unbelievable. It's the jewel of Govardhan, even for the Bṛhad-bhāsis that want to have kathas and functions and whatever. It's just such and because I was one of the founders of that, I came to the opening and I spoke. Not the opening where they dug the pit and they put an antasya in, and I spoke. And I expressed one type of lamentation. And the lamentation that I expressed was that even though, Burijan Prabhu, how did he do this thing? It's amazing. And I afterwards, and I spoke, and he liked what I spoke, and I said, my only regret is Burijan, he's already, 70, now he's about 76, 77, he won't be around to enjoy it. And then afterwards he looked at me and he said, and it really struck me, he said, the only thing you were wrong about saying is that. He said, I didn't do this to enjoy it. And he put his hands, and it really struck me. He said, it's an offering. And he pointed to Giriraj, where you can, Giriraj, where you can, as an offering to Giriraj, to God, to Prabhupada. So that should be our consciousness. Everything is an offering. And therefore beauty and taste and so many things is important in bhakti. It's an offering. I was listening to a tape of Prabhupada this morning, and he was saying, someone is worshiping the deity, someone is cleaning the temple. Do not think they're different. Yeah. You bhakti means, that's why there's such a relationship between happiness, devotion, and beauty, or devotion and beauty. Because when you have devotion, you offer the best. That's what Srimati Radharani means. It's the form of the best. And even the jewels on her head, it's not different from her body. It's I love you, Krishna. And that's what bhakti is about. It's about offering devotion in a very tangible way. Iha yasya harer dasye karmana manasa gira niklas tu avaptasu jivan mukta suuchate. Iha yasya harer dasye, one who is the servant, harer dasye, of Krishna. Karmana manasa gira. Karma by the work, manasa by the minds, gira by the words. Niklas tu avapta jivan mukta, that's liberation. So Lord Chaitanya taught us rasa, gita, shloka, tasting devotion. And especially this way, which he's given to the world and his followers have given to the world, rasa, gita, shloka, the shloka, the verses that are embodiments of devotion, the songs that carry devotion, and then tasting that. And that's really the purpose of the class. And what I'm trying to do now, everybody has to have a mission. I guess this year I'll be 74 and thinking of the mission more and more and what I can give. And what I like to give is rasa, gita, shloka, ashva, tasting this. Because this is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give. And it's embodied here. And it's embodied here in this story. It's embodied in every word in the Bhagavatam, actually. And here, and what Lord Chaitanya came to give is swabhakti swayam, his devotion. His devotion for Krishna. His spontaneous devotion for Krishna. A relationship with Krishna. So here, it's like this weave of just beautiful, if the story, let's follow it. I guess my hand, Narada Muni, with devotion, looking for the topmost recipient of Krishna's mercy. And he comes to Dwarka, where the close associates of Krishna are sitting on the terrace out of devotion. Narada comes looking for Uddhava out of devotion, and that devotion is so powerful, it's producing in his body what's called astika sattvika bhavs, involuntary explosions of emotion that come out in crying. And then when these emotions come out, they're not just a physical thing. It's an emotional experience. When you pay obeisances, it shouldn't just be like a physical thing. It should be an emotional experience. And the physical expressions of bhakti, anubhavs and sattvika bhavs. Anubhavs are actions that anubhav, they follow bhav. Singing, dancing, folding your hands. They themselves no longer become just actions. They become an emotion. They become a sarup of your heart. Your hands folded before your chest should be a sarup of your heart. If you can shed a tear, it should be a sarup of your heart. So they're sitting out because, as we find out later on, Krishna's in lamentation out of separation and love of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, specifically Srimati Radharani. And then Narada goes, and I don't have to tell the story, we've all been together, he goes to Uddhava. Narada expresses the exaltation of his devotee, which is a vibhav for devotion for Krishna. When you glorify a devotee of Krishna, it is an emotional experience of devotion towards Krishna. Because devotee means focused on Krishna. So when you glorify the devotee, you glorify Krishna. It's the greatest glory of Krishna. Even when Lord Brahma, when he comes back and Krishna manifests in all the cowherd boys and calves, and then Lord Brahma is bewildered, and then Krishna shows them their Vishnu forms. And all those Vishnu forms are surrounded by devotees. They're part of the glory of Krishna, and they're doing kirtan. The ultimate vision is Krishna surrounded by all his energies and surrounded by his devotees. And then Uddhava responds in devotion, which is his humility. So much focused on God and so little focused on them himself. And that's going to be expressed in the story too. When Rohini objects to what Uddhava, then from Uddhava's heart comes his glorification of the Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta. So this flow of devotion. And then Rohini describes their suffering, to question whether that, and it's one of the fundamental questions of the story, to question whether that suffering is devotion. To question, to understand that as devotion. So Rohini questions, is that mercy, the piteous tears of, I'm repeating it, but it should have some sense and some feeling. The piteous tears of Mother Yasoda, which are melting stones and shattering thunderbolts. And the gopis who are lying as corpses, is that mercy? And then Uddhava responds. That so many demons, but they did not care. They were singly focused, not on themselves. If the ultimate reality is love, shouldn't that be the perfectional state? The perfectional state is when we don't think of ourselves, or we only think of ourselves in relationship to facilitating service to others, service to God. So he said they don't think, they've dedicated their lives to Krishna. Of course, we're going to come here in the Shikshastika prayers, it's going to be explained what Radharani's love is. Aslishyapa, Padaratam, Panastumam, Adarshanam, Mamahatam. I don't care. You may make me brokenhearted by not being before me. You crush me by my embrace. You are my Lord. That's love. Shouldn't that be the ultimate reality? If the ultimate material consciousness is narcissistic and only seeing the world through your desires, shouldn't be the ultimate spiritual consciousness seeing the world only through the eyes of others and Krishna? So I don't care. I don't care. And then actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's going to give a little commentary when he gets, because, wait, no, I'm in another book. But I thought I was in the Shikshastika prayers, but I'm not. But in the Shikshastika prayers, when he gets to that verse, he explains what happens. The Sakis, they come to Krishna. Radharani, don't let him exploit you. Don't go with Krishna. Look what he's done to you. Look how he's treated you. He's left you. He's done this. He's done that. But what is it? The ultimate consciousness. It's just not about me. And it's not a codependent thing. Because a codependent thing is about yourself. It's about this ontological position and connection with Krishna of love that's perfection. And therefore Radharani says, he responds to Lita and Vishaka, Ashli Shiva, Padaratam, Panastumam, Adarshanam. It's not about me. It's not about me. So then we had Padmavati. And then she brings another point that has to be resolved. Well, not really. Anyway, she brings a point, well, look how Krishna suffered. They just sent him, and he was hungry. They just gave him a little milk. And Rohini just ignored it and said, no, those people are great. They didn't mistreat Krishna. Those people are great. Rather, Krishna left and he went and he's concerned for others and he's forgetting them. Krishna, 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 Krishna. I remember that story where this is, I don't know if you all heard all my stories, but maybe they can be repeated. But my parents were so concerned. It seems so stupid when I hear this, see this, that I was getting into Krishna consciousness, that they wanted to give me a higher taste. So they took me to a Broadway show. And I honestly feel that story, I lost my caste and still I'm hungry. Because, it was the worst Broadway show. It was completely boring. It had no allurement for me. They could have taken me to West Side Story, My Fair Lady. They took me to this Broadway show called Enter Laughing. It was, I had no appreciation for it, had no attraction for me. But when I was outside waiting, because my parents tried to give me a higher taste and were waiting to take me to the Broadway show, then in the distance you hear, and then the kirtan party comes by, and my eccentric college roommate, who I went to visit, and that's when we became devotees, and he was eccentric. He gave me this electric cult-like hug. And then my father afterwards, he came to the temple to visit me. I took you to a Broadway show, but all I could think about was Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. One time we were in the garden with Srila Prabhupada in Dallas. Dallas was amazing. The houses cost $10,000. It was a poor neighborhood. And they bought this old church. And the old church had a school, I think. It's still there. What Tamal Krishna Maharaj did there was amazing. They had a big pecan tree, little forest. And they bought all the houses like on the block. So some of the back of the houses were attached to the temple. And we went to one of the courtyards, and there's a picture of me before I shaved up. Before I shaved up, if anyone wants, they could put that on the WhatsApp group if they have it. But it's a picture of me before I shaved up, sitting and listening to Prabhupada's class. And Prabhupada was reading Krishna book every day. And sometimes, I don't know, it seemed like he was saying things that weren't even in the story. But it was something he was reading us that I think the gopis were criticizing Krishna. They were criticizing Krishna. And Prabhupada was laughing and he was saying, look, they're so angry at Krishna, but they cannot give up Krishna. I can't believe it. I wish I was more aware and Krishna conscious. Imagine there's a picture of me sitting there listening to Prabhupada's listening to Krishna book. I wish I was more aware. I could have absorbed even more of my fortune at that time. Joining Krishna consciousness was not an intellectual decision. It was Krishna in the heart. I can't imagine how I did it even. It was Krishna in the heart, leaving everything. But anyway, so here's Rukmiṇī. And she's respectful to Rukmiṇī, she's respectful to Rohini. He said, but you don't understand. He's not cruel. You're saying you're saying, so she's arguing he left Vrindavan, he doesn't care. No, you don't understand. I'm here with him. Okay, you say he left Vrindavan. He's here with me. And his heart, Krishna's heart, is nava-nītāti, ati midu. I love names. How's that? Your name is nava-nītāti ati midu. Much tasya, the inner, the heart, ati midu, extremely soft, more than nava-nītāti, more than new butter. Krishna's heart is so soft. I'm his wife, I know. Sometimes at night, he says this and that in his sleep. Sometimes in a most sweet voice, he utters names as if calling cows. Sometimes he calls his girlfriends, or sometimes of the cowherd boys, and sometimes while asleep, he acts if he's placing his flute in his mouth and assumes his enchanting threefold bending form. Kimapi brute ratro swapam. Kimapi brute no. Kimapi maduram pritya dhenor evaṁ while sleeping, mostly sleeping with loving affection. With loving affection. Maduram, most sweetly. Maduram, pritya, most sweetly with love. Dhenu. He's calling, sometimes he's calling his cows. Maduram, ati pritu. Maduram, sweet, with love, calling his cows. So have a vision of our God, of Krishna laying in the bed with Rukmiṇī. Maduram, ati pritya. Svantasya. With loving affection. He is avijñāyāntaraṁ, calling the cows, and his girlfriends, and sometimes the cowherd boys. Utasaki ganam, kaschid gopan, and his manaharam, like Hari, takes away the mind. What takes away the mind? What takes away the mind? Tribhangi, his threefold bending form, excellent. Akritam, his excellent threefold bending form is manaharam. It's so enchanting. So this is Rukmiṇī pouring out her heart. And the devotion, the waves of devotion coming in different ways. Rasa vai saha. Krishna is devotion. Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta rasam alayam. Rasa gita shlokam ashvadane. Drinking this nectar. While asleep, he sometimes says, Mother, give me some fresh butter. Sometimes he calls out to me, O Śrī Radha, O Lalita. He's calling out to me, I'm Rukmiṇī, and he's calling out Lalita, O Radha. Sometimes he puts on my garment and asks me, Chandravali, what are you doing? And sometimes he drenches the pillow on his head with floods of tears. Then at times he suddenly wakes up, rises from bed, and cries in a pitiful voice, drowning us in an ocean of pain and grief. Purport by us, Srimati Rukmiṇī means all of Krishna's queens. Rukmini's own unique love for Krishna is free from jealousy, usually found among co-wives. So it's ever. Just last night he must have seen something in a dream, because today he has been weeping sorrowfully and is besides himself with agitation. One second. Now he's lying in his bed as if asleep, his cloth pulled over his head. He has not even performed his morning duties. And then Satyabhama is going to say, why only in the sleep? Why only in sleep? Not only in his sleep, even while awake, he seemed to have his mind on something. Indeed, we're wives only in his name. His young cowherd servants, in fact, more dear to him than we are. So anyway, I'm going to have to leave a little bit earlier today because Lal Govind is going to pick me up. I have to do some things before we go for the program. I'll just finish this. It's just, again, this literary work is amazing. What it's setting up now is Satyabhama Rukmiṇī is saying what Krishna's condition is and why he hasn't got out of bed. Now it's be revealed why when Narada Muni came to see Uddhava, they're all outside because they're concerned about Krishna. And now this kind of argument comes around of Narada looking for the topmost recipients of Krishna's mercy, Rohini taking the stance that they're just suffering, Uddhava saying they're the greatest devotees, Baladev supporting his mother, because he also was sent by Krishna. He also went to Vṛndavan and saw their suffering. And now Rohini pushing back, and then Rukmiṇī and Satyabhama in different moods, just saying how much Krishna is concerned for the Bṛjbasis. So this sets up in the drama, the Leela, the story, some tension that has to be resolved. And the tension is, how can the Bṛjbasis be the topmost devotees if they're suffering so much? And if Krishna is omnibenevolent and all good, why doesn't he go back and relieve their suffering? And the drama, now what happens is it causes a little stir. Now it's going to get a little heated between these different residents. Baladev's going to come up and he's going to now present what he did, and he's going to again present how much they were suffering and how he begged Krishna to go there once, just save the lives of these people. And even though Krishna said he'll go, but he said he'll go, but you know from his acts he never went back. So why is Krishna not going back? And this wakes up Krishna. And it's amazing. Because he comes out and he gets into the discussion and he faints, and they have to bring him to Nava-Vrindavan, the replica of Vrindavan, to revive his consciousness. They have to relieve his separation first. And so many points come out. Okay. Okay, Jamuna Jai, if you're still there, we can end just a few minutes earlier today. Not too much.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for class. It was so good to see you yesterday and everyone.
Well, it's so good that you came there and you took some vayu before you left, so you.
Yeah, you knew me in the food thing. I really enjoyed how you said that the ultimate reality is us thinking ourselves only in terms of how we can serve Krishna. That was just so well said today. I really appreciated
And I was
that.
trying to present that it's actually a reasonable condition if we accept that that's what's exalted, sacrifice and service, to see it to the ultimate level,
Mm.
but not codependent because they're not thinking about themselves. Codependent is you're glorify and serve someone else for your own ego. You
Mm.
attach to someone greater, and also not to someone who's not worthy. Because the fact of Krishna is he's worthy of that, because he actually reciprocates with that love to give people the greatest happiness.
Mm.
And that's also going to be explained. Okay, thank you.
Paris, can we ask who is getting second initiation today?
Oh, Malati and Indira.
Oh, Haribol. Beautiful.
Okay, okay. It's before the function today a little bit. Maybe some people will be there, but anybody else like to? Gail, you have a question?
No question today, Maharaj, but it was nice to hear something reinforced that I heard like the day before yesterday about something that you said, re-emphasized to me the fact that the best service to Krishna is the glorification of those who have him in their heart, you know.
Right. Actually,
Basic.
it's such an interesting point because that's one of our philosophies. Who are we to be an object of pleasure for Krishna? But if we serve those who are, then we can kind of get that satisfaction of Krishna being pleased. So that's why our consciousness is Gopi Bhartu Padakamala Dasa Dasa Anudasa. We're servants of the servants of the servants. Yeah. Radharani has the full capacity to serve Krishna. We don't have the full capacity to serve Krishna, but if we serve Sri Radha, then we can enhance the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. Thank you, Gail.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Anybody else have some reflection?
Can you hear me?
Jai Shri Radha.
Can you hear me now better?
A little bit. You have terrible reception.
Yeah, as usual. I just wanted to tell you that the thing that touched me very deeply was your words that joining Krishna consciousness wasn't an intellectual thing. It was something from the heart.
I was convinced of Krishna consciousness by the philosophy for sure, but to make the decision to like just go and cross that line of no return with and the austerities that we performed, and that wasn't an intellectual decision. I think what am I doing? Okay. It definitely, definitely had to be bewildered by Yoga Maya. I think there's no other way. I can't, it's just, Krishna's in our heart. And when he wanted me to do that, then Sarvasya Chahamiti Sunny Vishto Matasmatir Gyanam. I'm in everyone's heart. From me comes remembrance, forgetfulness, and knowledge. And then boom. It's just, okay. Anybody else like to say hello? Thank you, Jai Shri Radhe.
Hare Krishna Gumaraj, Tota Gopinath here. Great to hear from you.
Thanks, Tota.
Oh.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Krishna-katha. Thank you so much. I also liked very much when you said that bhakti is offering devotion and that we must taste devotion. It's so interesting. And that shlokas are embodiment of the devotion. So we must taste shlokas. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Very nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else say hello?
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Yavat is here. Thank you very much for the class.
Haribo, Yavat Sundarish. Wow. Jai, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Good. Anybody else?
Hare
Hare
Krishna Maharaj, Radhe Radhe.
Bṛhad-bhāgavatāmṛta, so we'll see you a week from today, or is it, no, not a week, a Saturday from today, right?
Yes, Maharaj.
I'm gonna fast the whole week. So I'm ready. Okay, anybody else?
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, it's all Govinda. Thank you for class.
Okay, we'll see, what, at 10? 10:30? When?
10 o'clock. Yeah, a
Okay,
little
I'll
bit
be
before
ready.
10 o'clock.
Okay, I'll be ready at 10. Okay, Haribo.
Haribo.
Anybody else?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, this is Hemalata Radha. Thank you so much for class, Maharaj.
Great to see you, Haribo.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Okay, good. Nice to see you. Thank you. Good. Anybody else? Okay. I look at the list and I see all the people that have attended. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it so much.